guys, this is Grace. Welcome to my channel. So this is the first video for my stamping on your scrapbook series. So this is going to be a fairly quick layout. This is just one of my front page for my albums. If you've been around for a while, you know that I make a front page for all of my yearly albums just to kind of divide each year from one another. So this one's 2018 and I usually just use leftover photos. I do print. Right now I've been printing a lot of my images or my pictures at 3x4, so I just grabbed some leftover 3x4 pictures from all of the things that we have done for that year, and I'm gonna do this just a single 12x12 page, and so I figured that 2.5-inch squares would be perfect to fit in the 12x12. So now I'm showing you that I just used the back side of some 3x4 cards and just added a bunch of just words for it. And this is one of my favorite things to do with those word stamps, especially because you know, with scrapbooking, you don't really use a lot of like your typical stamps that you use for card making, but one of the things that I almost always use when it comes to the stamps that I use for scrapbooking are the words and phrases stamps. So I just stamped a bunch of those on the 3x4 cards and then just cut them. Now, you saw me there auditioning. I have a pattern paper background and I wanted to mat my photo collage with a cardstock just to kind of have that little differentiation between the pattern paper and the photos. So I was thinking maybe I will do white, but I ended up doing black. I don't know. I don't normally mat with black. That's not something that, you know, I gravitate to very often, but I find with this one, it just makes it stand out a little bit more. I don't know. Tell me, what do you think? Do you think that I should have gone with the white or the black was the better choice? So I did cut, I think it was 12 photos, and then I cut 4 of those 3x4, or rather 2.5-inch square blocks of papers. I cut 4 of those. My thought is that I can do a 16 square grid that will fit nicely inside or in the center of the 12x12 paper. And then 3 of those blocks will just kind of house a layer of stamped images, and then one will have the year. So that's kind of the plan that I have. So I'm going to scatter the 3x4, making sure that they're not too close together. My plan is one row or column will have one block a piece, and then the rest will be photos. So again, these are just pictures from that year, and if you have some leftover photos, this will be like a great page to use those extra photos. And then also if you want a divider for your in between your albums. I will have a video later on this year of how I organize my finished pages, and so having a front page for each album will probably make more sense once I share that video. But basically what it is that I use 3-ring binders to organize all my layouts, and sometimes I combine years into one album, and so it's nice for me to have that divider so that I just know that, okay, 2018, all of the layouts after this page is 2018, and the ones before that was 2017. Just easy for me to kind of organize them that way. So now that I have my 16 block grid, I am going to trim that off a little bit so that I can put that on my layout. Now, usually I got the background paper, whether that's cardstock or pattern paper, but this time around I was kind of a little lazy, so I just kept that as is. And plus I have a lot of papers, so I don't think it's gonna hurt if I don't get this one. I have pre-cut my numbers, my date from my silhouette, and it's just a regular or a basic font, and I just cut 2018. My idea was that I was going to do some shadow just to make it stand out a little bit more, and so I cut it in brown and also in white. I was kind of tossed between like maybe having the white on the back, but I do like how the white just kind of stands out against all of the colors, so I'm going to have that as the foreground, and then I'm going to adhere that slightly to the left of the brown so that you will see the shadow effect. And I know that Nicole McGuark used, when she would do scrapbook layouts, she would do this kind of shadow effect before. And so I really like that. And I'm just putting that, I'm putting an acrylic block over the letters so that it will stick together. I'm just going to do that on all of the letters, and then I'm going to move on. So I don't know if you noticed, but the stamps that I used, one was Tuesday morning, and then the other one is, oh, I forgot already, but they're word stamps. Now this one is a circle stamp, and it is from Jelly Bean Soup. Oh no, sorry, Hampton Arts. And then I got that at Tuesday morning. And then I'm going to stamp some of those onto just scrap of white paper. And then I'm going to put that on top of those stamped blocks. I'm just going to grab some white paper here. I'm looking for like really tiny scraps because all I need is just a few or just a little bit for the circles. And then I'm trying to figure out, so one of the things that I wanted to challenge myself was to, when I'm stamping, to not use just black, because that's kind of my go-to. I'm not very creative with my stamping or the inks that I use. So that was one of the challenges that I put on myself for this challenge. So as you saw rather, that I picked black because again, that was my go-to. So I kind of stopped a little bit and thought, well, I already have black. I used black already on the background pieces because they're various color backgrounds. So to unite them, I used black. And so I'm thinking, well, if I use black again, that's just very monotone in my mind. So I stopped a little bit and grabbed this distress ink. I think this is Fire Brick, and I really like how that turned out. Now, I guess if I were thinking it through a little bit better, I should have picked like maybe a pink to pull out from the background, but there are red in the photos as well, like the I think that my son's shirt in one of the photos, so I went with red, and that actually worked out really good. So I'm stamping 4 because at this point I wasn't really thinking very well, and I just thought I had 4 blocks, so I need 4 circles. But then later on I thought I forgot I was, I have that date as my title, so I'm actually only going to use 3 of these. And I just stamped just some words or circles that matched what I have here. So I was about to punch that with my 1 1/4 punch, but then I remembered that, if I punched that happy, that I will end up punching the love and all the other ones. So I stopped and cut out the ones that I just need, or cut out a little bit of it, so that I don't ruin the circle stamp that I've already done. Now I have this little container on the side of my table where I have it's just a bunch of die cut stuff. And I remembered I have some scallop die cuts, and initially I was going to use the patterned scallop die cut, but then I felt like the pattern on it was just a little bit too busy for my liking, especially with all of the things that's going on in my blog. So I rummaged through it a little bit more and found these beige scallop circles. At first I only had two, and I was kind of worried. I'm like, oh, I mean, it would really be nice if I had three. And then I looked a little bit more, and I did find a few more, so that was nice. Now, my initial thought was that the 2018 will be on that spot that has the background today, the story of today, because I felt like the background should be kind of closer to the middle of the layout. But the background piece, the scallop rather, is beige, and that Good Times was also beige. And so I really kind of it took me a while to create this layout. Let me just tell you, I know it's just a very simple layout, but it took me a while. There was a lot of thinking involved, thinking that I know, I think it's because I haven't been scrapbooking for a while, that the thinking part took me a long time. Like, I wasn't very decisive about this layout. I didn't know, well, I had an idea in my mind, but then I kept on stumbling into challenges, and it took me a while to kind of regroup and rethink what I was doing. So anyways, the title ended up being on that Good Times block just because I did not want the beige to be on over another beige. I don't know, it just seems like there was no division between the different colors. So that basically sums up this layout. I did in this particular video, I wanted to focus on words, as that is like my normal go-to stamps that I use for scrapbooking. But instead of just stamping the actual phrase or words onto my layouts, I actually created a background for it, and then added that as an accent. So here are some close-ups, and I will see you guys in video number 2. Bye.